Good morning, Peterborough. My name is Jim Tubb, and it is time for your sports break broadcasted through the facilities of Trent Radio on 92.7 C Triple FM here in, of course, Peterborough, Canada. This show can be streamed online at trentradio.ca, or you can follow what we're talking about on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. The weather outside today it's cool. Nice sentence there. It's cool. Yeah, it's cold out today so far. It looks like it's gonna warm up the rest of the day. Let's pull up the hourly forecast here. Chilly walk here this morning, bus ride, everything. But it is still a beautiful day to talk about sports, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like you to find me a day that isn't a beautiful day to talk about sports, and I'll tell you, you'd be wrong, because every day is a great day for sports. But yeah, a bit chilly this morning, then it's gonna warm up this afternoon, so pretty great day if you're asking me. Since last week, 7 days. How many hours that is, who knows? 7 times 24, do the math. There's been a lot that's happened. The NHL season started off. The Maple Leafs have already played 4 games. The MLB playoffs happened, or have started to happen. Both the wildcard series were decided. One of the ALDS was decided, and all the rest are pretty much going the distance. The Houston Astros and Tampa it's 2-1 Houston in the series lead. We'll get to that in a bit, baseball. But right now, what has started is the NHL season. And I don't think there's anything better than when the NHL season starts, because that's what you watch in the winter. That, and if you're into basketball, you watch basketball. And the Raptors season is starting up soon. They're starting preseason right now. Kyle Lowry yesterday got a 1-year, $31 million extension. So that's not for this season. That is for next season. He's still getting paid off his old contract this season. I want to say he makes 30 or something close to that. Or maybe it's a little less. I could be completely wrong. And then next year he'll make 31. And for the Raptors, it's just a legacy deal. It's as simple as that. And you might be like, well, what's that mean? Well, that's a good question. Let me answer it. It's essentially like, hey, thank you for everything you've done for us. You are the Toronto Raptors, Mr. Kyle Lowry. And they have a lot of players, Gasol, Ibaka, and I believe Powell are free agents after this year now. So just like, keep a guy there that the fans know and is part of the team. And it sounded like it came out after it was announced, the deal was that if Lowry didn't get this deal, he was going to try to request a trade because he didn't want to be on the Raptors and not have security past next year. Take with that what you will. How do I think the Raptors are going to do with Kyle Lowry? Great question again. I think they're going to make the playoffs. Do I think they're going to go to the NBA Finals again? It's kind of tough. The East, it's like the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's the Raptors. And I can't, like, Boston. Boston's a good team. You can never sleep on Boston, but, like, it's the Nets just got Kyrie. I don't know. But, yeah, I think the Raptors will make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll make it to the NBA Finals again. But like I said, this is just a legacy deal for Kyle Lowry. When he comes off the books then in 2 years now, 2 seasons from now, a lot of teams have cap space, and including the Toronto Raptors, who could potentially go after Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think I said his name right there. Not a big deal. But, yeah, it's just a legacy deal, and it's as simple as paying the guy who's done a lot for your franchise because they can. What does that mean for the Van Fleet and Pascal Siakam extensions? I guess we're going to find out soon. I was talking about hockey about 5 minutes ago, and then I brought up the Raptors. Like I said, it's winter time. You're going to start watching hockey. Saturday night, you get to listen to Don Cherry rant about stuff he doesn't know anymore, saying the Toronto Maple Leafs, they'll never win. They don't have enough Canadians, and they don't have enough tough guys. Kind of shown last night. They lost to the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. But you know what? It's Don Cherry. He's going to say whatever he wants. Like I said, you're going to stay in, watch hockey games. And this is kind of something that came up last year, and I said it a lot last season on Sports Break here, was people need to start drinking their milk. Why do I say that? Because it seems like everybody in the NHL gets hurt. I did it last year as a joke at the start, and then I was like, oh, people really actually get hurt a lot. I don't know, like, I don't know if I remember like 4 or 5 years ago people getting hurt this bad. Maybe I just didn't notice. I wasn't into it as much. But it just seems like every game or every 2 games, somebody's getting hurt. And now they're not now. They're always severe. But this like Evgeny Malkin and I don't know how to say this. Nick Bukestad will be out long term for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Malkin, it sounds like, is going to be out for a month with a leg injury. It's a soft tissue injury to his leg. Like Malkin coming off a crappy year last year, like points wise, he didn't play well. Wanting to perform this year, Penguins off to a bit of a slow start. Just like it's a tough start for the Penguins, I'll be honest. It's just not great. Malkin has played at least 75 regular season games and only 5 of his previous 12 non-lockout campaigns. So if any of that made sense to you, good for you. If not, he's only played 75 games in 5 of 12 seasons that didn't have a lockout because he was involved in 1 lockout. But like for the Penguins, you're losing Malkin quick. And then Bukestad, he's not supposed to be out as long as Malkin is, so it should be like 2-3 weeks. That's like 6 to 8 games. No, it's a lot. It's enough games. You don't want to miss any games. And the Penguins that are like, a lot of people are thinking they could miss the playoffs this year. They can't have a slow start like they are. They need to get back into it. They're going to push Alex Galchenyuk, who they traded Phil Kessel for, into center. We've seen Montreal try to put Galchenyuk in center. We've seen Arizona try to put Galchenyuk in center. There's a reason he's on his 3rd team in the past 4 years. He can't play center, and teams keep trying it, or he doesn't perform. So we'll see how the Penguins do this year. We'll see how Galchenyuk does this year. And I really hope Malkin comes back and tears it up, because the league is a better place when Evgeny Malkin is being Evgeny Malkin, and he is score, as he would say. I am score, and he scores lots of goals. That's just better for the league, in my opinion. If you were watching hockey on Friday night, and you were on Twitter hockey Twitter Friday night, you would have seen the Roman Polak injury against Boston, and it was weird. He was taking number 14 of the Boston Bruins into the boards. I don't know the name, but and like fell, and his helmet hit the boards, and then he just like fell back. And like in hockey, this is the scariest thing to see, is somebody hit their head on anything and then just fall. And he just laid there. He fell face first. Sorry, he was laying down face first, and it was just scary. Got stretchered off the ice, didn't really move. The team announced on Friday that he has a small fracture in his sternum, and he's going to be evaluated in 1 week. So like it's a week off, and then they'll decide after that. It was reported after the game he has all use of his extremities, but like the sternum, none of that can feel good. Cracking that, I'll be honest. Just sitting here thinking about that, like I think your sternum's your chest. I'm no doctor, but it's interesting. They don't teach you biology or anatomy in English, but you got to learn that your own way. But we really hope Roman Polak does good. Saw him on the Leafs. He was never strong on the Leafs, but you would never wish that on any player. And if you listen to the commentary on that, Jack Edwards, what he had to say about the injury and how it was Polak's fault and like he shouldn't play that. Like Jack Edwards, I think I've voiced my opinion on him here before. He's an idiot, and that's the nicest thing I can say about him on radio without losing the show. He's old school more than Don Cherry is. It's not even old school. Let me rephrase that. He doesn't think what he's going to say. He is the homer of all homer, which means he thinks every Boston player is the best player on the ice. And if you touch a Boston player, it's a penalty, and you should be out of the league, essentially. And if Boston hits somebody, it's clean and it's a hockey play. Like when I remember Sean Thornton like pulled Brooks Orpik to the ground and punched him in the face. He had no problem with that. He had absolutely no problem with that. Jack Edwards is like, he's just playing hockey. Like, no, he's not. And like this, he blames Polak for going headfirst into the boards, saying, well, you shouldn't play like that. And then he wonders why people are up in arms about him. He's just not, unless you're a Boston fan, and even I know Boston fans don't like him that much. Like, it's tough to watch. When you get guys like Ray Ferraro and Gordon Miller who just call the game, they have no ties to a team, and they just call the game right. It's amazing. Now, you do need your homer guys. Like for the Leafs, their radio guy, Joe Bowen, who does an amazing job. And he's a Leafs guy. He talks strongly about the Leafs. But you never feel like it's arrogant. It's never, the Leafs are the best team. He just knows more about the Leafs, and he gets more passionate about the Leafs. And that's what it should be. If you're going to be a home broadcaster for a team, you should be the most excited when that team does something good. And I say it like that because it can apply to all sports. Score, get a run, like anything. You should be the most passionate about that, but you shouldn't be the most arrogant. You should actually be more willing to call out your team. Well, you want to keep your job, but still, like, you shouldn't think your team walks on water and is the second coming of, like, who. I guess I can say Christ on there. I don't know why I censored myself. But in all seriousness, like, it sucks to watch and listen to when it's Jack Edwards. And it just, like, you start the game and you're like, I don't want to listen to this at all. And maybe people feel that about Joe Bowen and other, like, home broadcasters for teams across all sports, but I just think Jack Edwards is the most obnoxious. And like I said, we wish Roman Polak all the best. And one final injury. In the first night of the NHL season, not Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he's fine as far as I know. He's on the wagon, Arizona Coyotes. Adam Larsson of the Edmonton Oilers, tough start already. He's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured right fibula, which I think is in your leg, we're going to say here. Again, don't know anatomy here on... I got to play the bone game, He hurt it last week. It's blocked a shot. He ranked third amongst Oilers defensemen last season in ice time, averaging 21 minutes per game. He also had 3 goals and 20 points last year. Definitely worth the trade for Taylor Hall. I don't even know why you would rather Taylor Hall over a defenseman like this. Wow. He's going to be gone 6 to 8 weeks, like I said. And they called up top prospect Evan Bouchard, who, if you watched the World Juniors last year, Bouchard was arguably the best defenseman in the tournament behind Rasmus Sund. Was it last year Sundin played? Or not Sundin? Dahlin. Might have been 2 years Dahlin played. But Evan Bouchard looked really good in the World Juniors. And I know they kind of wanted to hold off on him coming to the NHL, but I guess they decided they can't wait any longer. And it'll be interesting to see how he does on the Oilers, who aren't a great defensive team, and see how he does as a young defensive prospect. Kind of young defensive prospects remind me of like rookie quarterbacks, where like sometimes you don't want to trust them because they get jumpy, but they can perform. One retired. We already got their first retirement of the year in Michael Leighton, goaltender. He played 18 pro seasons. I'm just trying to find how many games he played. Over 18, that's a lot, you would think. He made it to the Stanley Cup final in 2008 or 2009, 2010. Played for 21 different teams. Of course, he spent most of the time in the AHL. He was drafted in the 6th round of the 1999 NHL entry draft. He played in a total of 126 NHL games. I thought it would be more, I'll be honest. He entered his age 28 season with 69 career games under his belt, but he never enjoyed much success. Flyers got him from Carolina, and he took them to the Stanley Cup final that year that they lost against Patrick Kane and the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, it's like journeyman backup. That's about it. Just like 18 years pro hockey. That's a lot of hockey, and that's a lot of AHL hockey. Got 2 signings. Get to the Leafs. St. Louis Blues forward Braden Shen signed an 8-year extension on Friday, worth $6.5 million per year, over a total $52 million over 8 years. Quick math. How are ya? I'm not going to lie, it says it right here, but I did the quick math anyways. And then Blackhawks signed forward Alex Brinkat to a 3-year, $19.2 million extension. This is coming off of his entry-level deal for next year. So he won't be part of the RFA in the summer, this upcoming summer. I think the same with Braden Shen, actually. Yeah, I want to say the same with Braden Shen. Let me pull that back up. But especially with what we saw at the Leafs this offseason. Not just the Leafs, sorry, the league this offseason with all the RFAs. I could see more teams right now try to get through this so they don't have to deal with it next summer, and then they can just worry about re-signing their own guys and free agents. Oh, okay, no. Sorry about that. For Braden Shen, it was just an extension off a former contract. But yeah, so next offseason, this upcoming offseason for the Blackhawks, they have to just try to re-sign Dylan Strome, Drake Kagula, that's how you say it in my mind, Brendan Perlini, and Dominic Kubalik, and they're all restricted free agents. Dylan Strome will be the big one, probably, to try to re-sign since coming over from the Blackhawks last year. Now, opening night of the NHL season was last Wednesday. So that's a week, tomorrow. And it was also the start, or part of the start of the MLB playoffs. So I could see a lot of people's attentions were maybe not in the NHL. That's totally fine. A lot of stuff happened on opening night. Believe it or not, a lot of hockey games get played on opening night, including the St. Louis Blues, who hosted the Washington Capitals on the night that they raised the banner, skated with the Stanley Cup. I think it's awesome. Like, you touch the Stanley Cup one last time, you put it away, and then you're like, all right, it's time for this season. Now let's go. And if you saw the Blues and the rings that they got, amazing rings. All championship rings look amazing. On the inside, they had Layla for the young girl from St. Louis. I think she's from Winnipeg, I believe, who supported them, and she has an illness, and I should know it, and I'm going to talk about it. I don't, I'm afraid. And they honored her. They put her name on the inside, which was amazing, and then they gave her one. 2 players, I believe it was Alexander Steen, and somebody else, Colton Parayko maybe, went and gave her the ring, which is amazing. But coming off of that Stanley Cup banner raising, they played the Capitals, of course, and they lost to the Capitals 3-2 in overtime. Tough start to the defending Stanley Cup champion year, but a lot of hockey ahead. Sorry, I sound dreary right now. It's amazing. Hockey's back. Let's go. No. McDavid and Draisaitl, of course, looked very good on their first night. They played against the Vancouver Canucks. Still didn't win against the Canucks, but, what can you do? You're the Oilers. The Golden Knights looked scary on the first night. They played in high gear all night. They won 4-1 over the San Jose Sharks. They scored 2 goals even strength, 1 in the power play and 1 shorthanded. How can you fight a team that scores every way possible? Almost every way possible. Vegas had 14 shots alone just from the top line. Like, come on. Vegas, strong chance. Very strong chance to make the NHL final. Or make the Stanley Cup final. I don't know why I called it the NHL final. Like I said, though, there's a lot of hockey ahead. I love them throwing out picks. Like, it's going to be Vegas and Toronto, in the NHL final. If it's Vegas and Toronto, you can come back to this episode and be like, he picked it right. And I'll be like, yep, I did. And the biggest news, probably, from opening night, what I would say, is the Toronto Maple Leafs finally named a captain. They named their 25th captain in franchise history. This guy had already been a captain once, and he found out from walking into MLSE, like the Major League's Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment Building, and seeing his wife and his 2-week-old, now 3-week-old baby wearing his jersey with the C on it. And if you don't know who I'm talking about yet, it's John Tavares. John Tavares was named the 25th captain in Maple Leafs history. And the fans all found out right as he skated onto the ice during the game. They announced it. They also announced all the assistant captains. It started with, I believe, Mitch Marner. Then it went Matthews. Then it went Morgan Riley. Is there 3? Yeah, there's 3 assistants. And then out walked John Tavares in the captaincy, which I thought was really good. Of course, Morgan was rumored to be the captain. And Austin Matthews, it seemed like the talk all summer was that Austin Matthews was going to be the captain. And then Matthews had his incident off the ice. It came up. We didn't talk about it last week. I don't know. Nothing new has come out. When something new comes out, we'll talk about it here. And a lot of people thought that cost him the captaincy. Tavares ended up with it. I personally think Tavares was always going to get it. I think he always deserved it the most. and I think not even deserved it. That's the wrong way of saying it. I think he was the one that fit the role the best, and he was going to fit the role the best for the future. I believe he's still the longest signed, or he's got the he's going to be the person. He's under contract the longest than everybody else. I don't know why that was so difficult to say. So him and Marner are under contract at the same time, but Tavares is 7 years older. So for me, when that contract expires, he will be, quick math on air, 35, 36, over a guy who will be, even quicker math on air, 28. So there's no saying that Austin Matthews doesn't have or Marner or Morgan Riley don't have the captaincy right now. But when John Tavares, when that contract's done, maybe he's done hockey. They can give it to him then. I know it's not his entire prime that he has the captaincy, but the captain doesn't have to be the only leader in the room. And you've seen that with a lot of teams, that the captain sometimes isn't the biggest leader or the most vocal leader in the room, which is probably going to be the case with the Maple Leafs. John Tavares isn't a very vocal player, and you don't have to be a captain. Just play by example and lead by example, which is what Tavares will probably do and has always done in the NHL. But I don't know. A lot of people got up in arms about this thing, and Matthews should be captain. I personally don't. It's a bit younger. I fall on that side of sometimes going to the older guy first to give the captaincy over the young guy. More experience in the NHL. It's not even more experience their life experience because they're older. It's more this guy's played 700 games in the NHL. He knows what the NHL is like. It's as simple as that to me. I don't know. That's just me. But I think the Leafs did a good job here, and finally they named a captain so we can stop talking about it. Look how long I talked about it right now, and they named the captain. All summer, it was I wonder who they're going to name captain. Let's spend 10 hours and do it. We'll do a top 10, TSN top 10. Who should be the captain? Number 10, it'll surprise you. Get some clickbait in there, too. But as he skated out onto the ice against the Senators, named the captaincy, and then it was all right, let's get into this. And it was a tough start opening night, I'll be honest. They let Brady Tkachuk scored, I believe, 20 seconds in, at least, 20 seconds or less into the game. Leafs, tough start, I'll be honest. Really tough start. It was kind of scary. I remember watching the game, and I was like, oh, man, Ottawa's going to win this somehow. And then everyone took over. Matthews took over the game, had 2 goals, had just over 18 minutes of ice time. And Matthews on first nights of the NHL season are amazing. He are the first couple games. He comes hot out of the gate, slows down a bit maybe, but comes hot out of the gate. Other guys like Sidney Crosby take their time to get into the game somehow. Everyone's different, but it's great to see Matthews every year. The first couple of games of the season just lights the lamp almost every game. Tavares had an assist on 2 shots on goal in his debut as captain. Here it is. Matthews tallied 2 more goals to bring his opening night totals to 9 goals in 4 regular season openers. And then, of course, he had 4 in his first game against the Ottawa Senators, his first NHL game. It was a great game, I'll be honest, for Toronto against Ottawa. It made them look really good. I mean, you're beating up on Ottawa, so it's not that huge of a deal, but great to start on a win. It's as simple as that. You start the season on a win. They put up 5 goals. It doesn't end. Putting up 5 goals is a great way to start. You can't give up as many goals as you did if you're the Leafs. Then they went on to play Columbus on Friday. We're just going to go through quick the rest of the games. I just thought opening night, Tavares being named the captain, you have to talk about that. Then they went on to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets. Mitch Marner got his first and then second goal of the season. Got an assist as well. Matthews had a goal. And defenseman Cody Ceci, who nobody likes heading into the season, and many people question whether he can perform on the top line with Morgan Riley, got a goal versus the Maple Leafs, and they beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-1. Frederik Andersen started that game. Kind of a bold decision because the next night they played the Montreal Canadiens, the Canadiens du Montreal. My French sounds pretty good, wouldn't you say? I would. The Leafs against Montreal. Not a good start. Not a good game at all. If you watch the game, it was Saturday Night Hockey. Hockey Night in Canada, and Don Cherry said Don Cherry things about how the Leafs will never win because they don't have any tough players, which, I'll be honest, I'm getting tired of hearing. Maybe it's true, but find a new narrative and beat the crap out of that one, because I think you've beat the crap out of this one. And they're going to keep trying. Like, what are they Maple Leafs supposed to go out and trade for, like, or sign Colton Orr, or trade, like, they brought in Brian Boyle the 1 year, and then they brought in Thomas Plekanec the next year. I don't know if you need another guy like Brian Boyle, who that is. Like, Wayne Simmons is on the Devils. If the Devils can't make the playoffs this year, do you go out and get Wayne Simmons? I believe he's on a 1-year deal. Like, who is this tough guy that the Leafs can suddenly get? Because they don't have it inside. They don't have it within the franchise. The guy that you would expect to be this tough fighter guy, like your fourth-line center, Freddie the Goat. Freddie the Goat is not going to drop the gloves. Believe it or not, Sidney Crosby will drop the gloves before Freddie the Goat. Crosby fought this week. That's where that comes from. But, like, to me, I'm getting tired of hearing that. I don't know if it's true or not. Because we've seen teams that aren't fully gritty, I'll say, win the Stanley Cup. Like, the Capitals didn't really have a grinder. They had Brooks Orpik, though. Like, you need a tough guy, I guess, who can hit hard, I guess, to win. And the Leafs don't have that, maybe? I don't know. That's just, like, me trying to figure out when everyone says this, that, oh, the Leafs will never win, they don't have any toughness. Okay. Although, that was Coach's Corner. That's after the first intermission, of course. Don Cherry looking good. Looking good as always. Ron McLean looking at Don like, can you, like, shut up, Don? Like, we have talking points, and you haven't hit one of them. And then he talks about some good Canadian boys. How St. Louis has, like, all the Canadians in the world on the team, and the Leafs have, like, Marner and Tavares and Riley. They have a lot of Canadians, actually, or enough. But yeah, they lost to the Canadians, the Montreal Canadiens, the ultimate Canadians, in shootout. And you kind of got the sense that once it went to overtime, it was like, if the Leafs don't win in overtime, they're not winning in shootout. And then Carey Price just put up the wall, and they lost in shootout. Montreal scored 1 goal in the shootout. But the story of the night for me was Carey Price, who I feel like just dominated the game and took it over and won it for the Habs. The Habs played great, don't get me wrong. Max Domi, Jonathan Drouin played amazing. And I think the biggest story is the Leafs played like crap, and that's what cost them the game. Not trying to downplay Montreal, but just like the Leafs played themselves out of that win. They had a 4-1 lead, and they lost it. It's as simple as that. And then last night, the Leafs played the Blues, and they lost 3-2. Getting their first regulation loss of the season, so they're 2-1-1. Not too bad. That's 5 points through 4 games. That's not a bad way of doing it. Oscar Sundqvist and Braden Shen. Sorry, that was not great radio. Oscar Sundqvist and Braden Shen scored for the Blues. Jordan Binnington stopped 32 shots to help St. Louis improve to 2-0-1 this season. Somehow they've had one. They only one less gameplay than the Leafs. That's not too bad. Frederick Gauthier and William Nylander scored for Toronto. They dropped 2 straight, of course, and Freddie finished with 26 saves. I'll be honest, Freddie did not look good in this game. It was just a down game for him. And then the guy like Matthews didn't look great. Tavares didn't look great. Marner looked tough in this game. But then you get guys like William Nylander looked really good. Rasmus Sandin looks amazing. They just got to give him more ice time. And I think the only reason he's not getting more ice time is because they don't feel 100% confident with who he plays with, which you can understand. But then maybe you think, well, what if you put Sandin with, like, Riley? I don't know. It's an idea. Think about it, Babcock, because obviously Babcock listens to Sports Break. I would if I were him. But yeah, it was just a tough start for Toronto and the Maple Leafs. Well, Toronto and the Maple Leafs, my bad. The Maple Leafs and Frederik Andersen. It was just a tough start. Can you tell we're heading towards a music break here from your sports break? It's getting kind of tough here. It just wasn't a great game for the Leafs. I'm going to keep rambling, but that's all it was. It just wasn't that good. They will play Tampa. They will host Tampa Thursday night for, I'll say, their second test of the year. Because for first game against Ottawa, not a strong test. Montreal is going to be a good team, but they're not like a super strong team. And then who they play there? Columbus. Yeah, Columbus, good team. They made the playoffs last year, but they're missing a lot from last year. Like, it's no longer Sergei Bobrovsky in net. It's Jesper Kotkaniemi, I believe. And then, of course, the Blues last night won the Cup last year. Still a very good team. And then Tampa Bay on Thursday. So all in all, a good start to the year for the Leafs. Lots to improve on. The defense, believe it or not, for the Toronto Maple Leafs needs to get better. They improved it this offseason, but it's got to get comfortable. Let's say that. They got to start getting comfortable. Forwards got to start working together. Kasperi Kapanen, it's been beaten to death. He needs to look better on the first line or the second line, whatever the Tavares line is. But lots ahead for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the NHL season. We got We have a lot of hockey coming up, ladies and gentlemen. It's only like the second week of October. So buckle up and get ready for some hockey. And we're going to go to a quick break here from your Sports Break.
We don't know what we did wrong. I don't think we're to blame. We stood in line and bought our season tickets to watch our favorite game. Thought it was just a one-time thing. We went through this before. We cried our tears and drove our spouses crazy, but that was back at '04. Oh, is there something I can say? Is there something we can do? I can't last another minute alone without you. Please come back, oh hockey, please come back. We wanna stay up all night long and we'll do anything you want. Just come back to our TVs and our homes where you belong. Please come back, oh hockey, please come back. We used to stand around the office water cooler and talk about some big trades. But now there's Derek talking arts and crafts, and we used to talk about fights and goals and big saves. And last night I couldn't help it, so I sat and watched some boring soccer highlights. And my wife's got my PVR full of every episode of Desperate Housewives. Oh, I don't care if my team has another dismal year. I wanna hang out with my friends at a game and drink some beer. Please come back, oh hockey, please come back. We wanna stay up all night long and we'll do anything you want. Just come back to our TVs and our homes where you belong. Please come back, oh hockey, please come back. The NHL is out in New York City working on negotiations. And we're out here all trying to get by, dealing with frustrations. I miss shootouts, playoffs, and Lord Stanley more than words can say. So give us back our reason for existing. Give us back our game. Please come back, oh hockey, please come back. Please come back, oh hockey, please come back. I'm tired of watching TV poker. I gotta take this cooking class. My wife's got me tickets to a ballet. Oh hockey, please come back. Oh hockey, please come back. Oh, hockey, please come back. I miss you so much, Hockey. I need you in my life. You don't know how hard it's been to be without you. Just hurry and come back. Please, Hockey, I'm begging you. I need you. Hockey, please come back.
We are back here, ladies and gentlemen, for your Sports Break, broadcasted on 92.7 C Triple FM here at the facilities at Trent Radio in the beautiful Peterborough, Canada. The weather outside, again, let me just refresh, is 5 degrees now. We jumped up from -1 to 5, is 6 degrees. Nice math, Jim. It's getting warmer. It's going to be a nice day. It's always a great day, you know. MLB playoffs started last Tuesday. Of course, the first wildcard game. Nationals beat the Brewers. We didn't really talk about it. Second game, Tampa Bay beat Oakland. And I say beat, like they beat Oakland to a pulp. Advanced to the AL and the NLDS, respectively. The NL and ALDS, respectively, my bad. And in the first game of the Tampa Bay and Houston series, it wasn't great. I'll be honest, the first 2 games in the Tampa Bay-Houston series wasn't very good for either. And by saying that, I mean Houston beat the crap out of Tampa. Maybe not beat the crap. They won 6-2 in the first game. And then in the second game, 1-3. That's wrong. Sorry, pro tip, always research before you start talking about it. In the first game, Houston won 6-2, and in the second game, they won 3-1, and it looked just terrible for the Rays. First game, they faced it off against Justin Verlander, and Verlander shut them down and pitched, I believe, 7 innings, and then Garrett Cole went in the next day and shut them down even more. Get the day off, come back to Tampa, and then yesterday, played against Zach Greinke. Yesterday was an amazing day. All 4 series played. Every series had the chance to end yesterday. Only one of them did. Like I said, we'll get to that. But yesterday, the Tampa Bay Rays, shelled Zach Greinke with 3 home runs in his start in Tampa. He was on 11 days rest, which is a lot. He allowed 6 runs and 3 home runs over 3 2/3 innings. He walked 1 and struck out 5. He looked amazing at the start of the game, the first inning and part of the second inning, and then he just went downhill. I don't know what happened there with Zach Greinke, but it wasn't a great start for him. Center field, Kevin Kiermaier hit a 3-run home run. G-Man Choi then homered in the third, and Brendan Lau hit a solo shot of his own in the fourth, and then Zach Greinke got pulled. This is the very first time that Zach Greinke has allowed 3 or more runs in a game since March 28th. And Houston just dominating this season or this series so far with starting pitching. The Cy Young Award candidates, like I said, Verlander and Cole, they threw 14 2/3 shutout innings, struck out 23. That's amazing in the 2 games that they played. And it's a 2-1 Houston lead. They play today in Tampa Bay. The game time for that is 7:07 p.m. prime time baseball tonight. Houston's up 2-1. And they had a choice. They could send their rookie pitcher to the mound to play against, to pitch against Tampa tonight, or they could go with what they are. They went with Justin Verlander to start Game 4. Of course, Verlander, he's starting on short rest. And after only allowing 1 hit and 8 strikeouts, last Friday, over 7 innings. This is if Houston doesn't win this game, that's not good for them. Tampa can beat if somehow Tampa can beat Verlander, and then they'll play in Game 5. Tampa's got a real good shot. But again, it is Justin Verlander, who is amazing this year. He's a godsend. Has a chance to win the Cy Young. Should win the Cy Young over Garrett Cole. I don't know how you can bet against the Houston Astros and Justin Verlander tonight. It's going to be a great game. Like I said, 7:07 start. The Rays are going to challenge with Diego Castillo. Sorry, I don't know why I laughed at that. The name, I couldn't think of it, who it is. They are going with a bullpen game. They don't really have a starter that is rested enough to start tonight. So, yeah, Justin Verlander against the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen. It's going to be interesting to see. A lot of pitching changes tonight. Get ready for that. Not so much on Houston unless Verlander has a crappy night. But from Tampa, I could see one every 2 innings, which makes for a very long baseball game. But it's been a great series. I know Houston's dominated the first 2 games, and Tampa's came back here. But, like, great series so far. I don't know. A lot of good baseball. Yesterday was amazing to watch. I haven't seen Tropicana Field that full in forever, which is amazing for the Rays. But I don't know why they don't do that during the regular season. Like, I understand it's not playoffs, but, like, show a little pride in your team. Like, come on. I don't know. I could say the same for the Blue Jays, who have nobody show up, but they're not in a playoff spot right now. Over in the other ALDS series, it's the Yankees and the Minnesota Twins, the New York Yankees, in case you didn't know. And from the start, this series was kind of like New York's to lose. Because Minnesota could hit home runs, and New York was a team that never died. Or it seemed like they never died with all the injuries they had this year. And they kind of played that way in the series, I'll be honest. The Yankees this was the Yankees series to lose, like I said. And I think they took that to heart. They won the first game 10-4. They won the second game 8-2. And of course, last night, they won 5-1. And they clinched their ticket to the ALCS. Not last year, for the second time in 3 years. I don't know why to think it was Yankees Houston in the 2017 ALCS. Last year was Houston Boston. And the story of the playoffs for the Yankees has been Gleyber Torres, who in the season actually, postseason and season, he had his first home run last night. Had 2 great defensive plays. Luis Severino, who barely pitched this season so far, pitched last night. He threw 4 scoreless innings, turned the game over to the Yankees bullpen. That is amazing and always has been. And, of course, helped send them to the ALCS, completing the sweep of Minnesota, who, if you're Minnesota and can't win against the Yankees in the playoffs, they've lost 16 straight. Like, they had a great season on the back of Nelson Cruz, and, like, they were just a never-say-die team, hit the most home runs all time for a team in Major League history. For them, it was time to slay the dragon, and the dragon bit back. They just didn't do what they should have done, and I know that's easy for me to say now, watching it, but it was not a great series for obviously not a great series for the Twins. They had 23 runs scored against, and they scored 7 runs. So if you can do that quick math, that's 16-run difference. I just did that on air. That's really quick math. They played a great game. They're a clean game, I should say. The Twins. They made plays in big spots. They look like they brought it last night. It's just the Yankees are the Yankees, and if they want to win, they're going to win, and that's as simple as that. Jake Odorizzi went to the mound for the Twins. They just couldn't do it. And for the Yankees, this means a lot. For them, it's World Series or die. And they got a step closer by going to the ALCS. It'll be interesting to see who starts Game 1 of the ALCS. It depends. Well, Game 5 depends how quick Houston gets out of the ALDS. Whether it would be Severino, Tanaka, probably James Paxton. I don't even know why I'm considering other people. It'll be James Paxton, who did good in his first Major League playoff start earlier this series. Lots to come up for the Yankees. I don't know why I was going to just say the best team in baseball. They're a really good team, and them against Houston is going to be a really great series because it's going to be Houston with the dominant pitching, and then it's going to be the Yankees with the lineup. And Houston has a great lineup, but just Yankees is pretty good too. I don't know what more I can say about that. The Yankees swept the Twins, and they made the Twins look pretty bad while doing it. Over in the NLDS, the Cardinals and Braves series, and a lot of people did not give the Cardinals any respect from what I found. That they just assumed, the Braves will win this series. It's the Braves. They're a really good team. Even I picked the Braves to make it to the World Series a couple weeks ago. Not on air, of course, but just that's who I picked. And I guess I didn't give the Cardinals enough respect because they deserved it. They won Game 1. Now, they won Game 1. Did they beat Atlanta? Oh, for sure. That's how you win a baseball game. Believe it or not, people. You beat the other team. But it's also very much Atlanta beat themselves. And what I mean by that is, of course, if you watched any baseball media over the past weekend, Ronald Acuna, plain and simple, just didn't run out the ball. He hit a high line draw or high fly ball and thought it was a home run and started jogging, and it became a very long single, which you never want to see, especially in the playoffs. You got to go for the double. Run your hardest. And just didn't look great because, the slow trot to first, and the Braves' next hitter, Ozzie Albies, grounded out. Acuna advanced to second, but, if he was already on second, he would have got to third, and then he could have scored. And then he got doubled off at second. Josh Donaldson hit a ball right to the shortstop, and then he got doubled off, which, no fault to Acuna, that ball came off the bat hot. Only so much reaction time there. Or at least I don't blame Acuna there. That's a hard ball to... you see that coming off the bat, you can only do so much. And as simple as that. But, if you're Acuna, you can't do that. You gotta run at the ball. If you're gonna be the face of the franchise, you have to be able to play like it and look good while doing it. That sounded stupid. You have to make the easy plays look easy, or the easy plays look routine and the hard plays look easy. What I mean by that is you got to run the ball out. It's as simple as that. That took a lot of words for that. You got to run the ball out. You got to play hard every play. And that's how you win in the playoffs, is doing that. A team like the Houston Astros, they don't take a play off. They run through everything. That took a lot of words just to get that out. But it did look like it went into yesterday, of course, like I said, all 4 series could have been an elimination. The series was 2-1 for the Braves. They looked like they dominated the Cardinals. Cardinals couldn't score any runs. The Braves were out pitching them and out hitting them. And yesterday it looked like the Braves were going to win it. The Cardinals were down, I believe. It would have been 4-3 heading into the 8th, and then they tied it. Went into the 9th. Nobody scored any runs, and it went into the 10th. And who I consider the face of the franchise for the St. Louis Cardinals, Yadier Molina, walked it off at the bottom of the 10th with a sacrifice fly. Adam Duvall threw it home. I forget who the runner was, and almost kind of got him. He's got a cannon out there. But it was Yadier Molina, the 37-year-old backstop. He became just the 4th catcher in MLB history to have 10 game-tying or go-ahead RBIs in the postseason, joining Sandy Alomar, Yogi Berra, and Johnny Bench. He's also the 2nd oldest player after Jackie Robinson in 1956 to prevent elimination with a walk-off. Believe it or not, he was pretty thrilled, had a pretty nice bat flip, not a back. Yeah, really doing a backflip would be amazing. I don't think he could jump that high. Doing a bat flip was amazing. Of course, like I said, Cardinals haven't really got much offense from their team. Started the game, though, first inning. Paul Goldschmidt and Marcell Ozuna hit back-to-back home runs. Not a big deal. Started the Cardinals off right, and from there, like I said, it felt kind of like the Braves game, but the Cardinals brought it back. Now, Game 5 is going to be amazing. The Cardinals are going to throw out Jack Flaherty, who has been their ace this season, and he's going to face Braves right-hander Mike Foltynewicz. That's not how you pronounce his name. That's how I pronounce his name. Who, of course, Mike beat Jack Flaherty when they faced off in Game 2. So we're going to see how that goes. That will be not tonight. That's tomorrow night, which would be Wednesday. Quick thinking on the dates, I know. And in the final NLD series, we're just rambling on here. I'm really sorry about this. The Dodgers, Nationals. I personally didn't give the Nationals any credit. I thought there's no way they're going to win. And they won the first one. They won the first game. I don't know, they didn't. Oh, I'm an idiot. The Dodgers won the first game, and they hammered the Nationals. They beat the Nationals 6-0, in the first game, and I was like, this is it. Nationals are going to lose 3 in a row. Walker Buehler showed he can perform in the playoffs again. Struck out 8, walked 3, and retired the final 7 batters he faced. It was kind of questionable. He earned the start over veterans like Clayton Kershaw, Hyun Jin Ryu, but Buehler looked amazing. It was simple as that. Dodgers rookie Gavin Lux and Jock Peterson slugged pinch hit home runs in the 8th. And they faced Patrick Corbin, from the Washington Nationals. and he had 4 walks. He had a terrible first inning. Like, that was 4 walks in that first inning. I was totally wrong. And that set the game for the Dodgers, and that's why they won the first game. Second game, Scherzer came in. Strasburg started. Scherzer came in relief. And, like, it's kind of sad that you don't trust your bullpen like that you need a guy like Scherzer to come in as a reliever. But if that's what you need, do whatever you want. Like, it's as simple as that. You just got to win baseball games and then worry about the game the next day. It's not up to you to worry about next game in the playoffs. Just win that game, get to the next. Dodgers win game 3, go to game 4 last night in Washington. Max Scherzer on the mound. What does Max Scherzer do? He performs. And, like, when I say performs, I mean Max Scherzer was like Madison Bumgarner and just gave it all, his all. He was asked after the game whether he would be seen in the game 5, which I believe will also come Wednesday, and he just said, my arm is hanging right now. Like, no, he's not going to pitch game 5. He went 7 innings, gave up, I believe, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, I believe was his stat line. But Max Scherzer is the reason that they could take the Dodgers this far. And if I would have said that to you, people would have believed that. But, like, it's true. They don't have anyone else. They've got Scherzer, Strasburg, maybe Sean Doolittle, like Daniel Hudson, who they got from the Blue Jays. That's about it. They trust on the pitching staff. Like 100% trust. Patrick Corbin has looked tough the past couple of times he's went out. But, like, it's Scherzer. It's as simple as that. Ryan Zimmerman, of course, the veteran first baseman. He had a huge 3-run home run that, like, won them the game, essentially. Like, man, I thought the Dodgers were going to have this series 3-0. Not a big deal. Move on. They go to game 5. Like, Nationals could win this, and then they face Cardinals or Braves. And for a lot of people, that would, like the Dodgers were the best team in baseball most of the year, and then Houston became like a god. But, like, no one would have pictured this with the Dodgers, and I feel like the Dodgers wouldn't have pictured this. And now saying this, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers didn't win, and, like, they just got too complacent, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like I said, we're gonna have to watch it to see, and, like, some great games coming up. Of course, like I said, Houston-Tampa play tonight at 7:07 p.m. And then tomorrow night, the Wednesday, will be Washington and LA at 8:35, and St. Louis and Atlanta at 5 o'clock. Lots of great baseball coming up. Lots of great hockey coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of great sports coming up this whole week. Everything's great. But that is all the time we have today for your Sports Break, broadcasting on 92.7 C-Triple-FM through the facilities here at Trent Radio in the beautiful Peterborough, Canada. This show, of course, can be streamed online at trentradio.ca, or you can follow what we're talking about on Twitter at SportsBreakTR. That's where I upload past shows. That is where I upload or put on my blog about whatever I write this week. Last week we wrote about John Tavares getting the captaincy. Before that, it was Mitch Marner's contract. You see where it's going. It's about sports. If you can't get enough of my content, you can find it there. We'll be back next Tuesday at 9 a.m. for another show where we'll talk about the NHL season and the MLB postseason. Lots to talk about there. We'll see who's moving on to the ALCS to face the Yankees and who's going to play in the NLCS. This is Thanksgiving weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a good, long weekend. Drive safe, drive sober. Don't leave cooking or candles unattended. Please have a safe, long weekend, guys. Like, this is not the time of year you want accidents to happen in the home, on the road, anywhere. Please vote. I know this, we're not getting political here. That's all I'm going to say on that. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, remember to check your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. It's Fire Prevention Week. And have a good day.